Welcome to The Other Side, where we take a ride each week and discuss our guests' personal journey, their hard work, sacrifice, struggles and failures, along with their passion, dedication, and determination. This is The Other Side.
Welcome to The Other Side. This week we feature Felix, a.k.a. El Gato, from a beautiful little band called SM Familia. Before we get started, do us a favor, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. Without any further ado, here's Carlos and SM Familia.
And welcome, everybody. This is The Other Side. We are very excited, man. I'm ecstatic. How you doing, Chris?
You know what? I'm all about it. I'm really excited about the interview today to get with El Gato and Felix here from SM Familia. It's going to be a treat.
Yeah,
man.
Felix Sierra,
Sí, señor.
otherwise known as El Gato. Man, thank you for doing this, man. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you guys for having me, man. Thank you.
Cool, man. Well, as a lot of people know out there, you're heavy into music, and we'll talk about your sound, which is crazy. It's a different sound. Hopefully, more people get to listen to it. You know, it's that music that you hear it and you start moving, man. You can't help but start kind of moving a little bit. But
Yeah.
let's start at the beginning, man. Where were you born?
Born right here, San Diego, specifically Escondido, so
Escondido.
North County side of San Diego.
Right on,
Yeah,
man. How was that? How was growing up out there?
Growing up in Escondido, so I'm the first generation born in the States.
Really? So your
all my
parents are
family
from?
is Michoacan. We're all Michoacanos. My mom,
Michoacanos.
de Guanajuato, so just a little bit above Michoacan.
Right.
And they're born over there. They went through hell and back with their lives out in Michoacan.
Right.
So they both, migrated over here in their teens or something like that.
Wow.
And, hearing those stories, crossing the border and living in a border town, the things that happen, the Mexican race to try to migrate over to the States is just incredible. The stories, that I hear, and just for a better life, it's insane. With what we're going through right now, it just like puts things in perspective, doesn't it? Like of just how
100%.
blessed we are, really. To be here.
Oh, especially, not to brag, but especially San Diego. Man. I've been lucky to go to other places for work and just visit, and I tell everybody, man, it's nothing like San Diego. Man. Coming back is always really good.
I've done a lot of touring, and where you guys from? San Diego. Oh my God,
Right?
you live there? And I'm just like, yeah, it's cool. It's just we're bred into this, So when we go out, we're like, oh, it's cool. I like traveling.
Me too.
You
I
know
love
what
it.
I
I
mean?
love it. I love it. I'm just saying,
But-
like, coming back, as soon as, especially if we're flying back in and you see downtown and the bay.
Gorgeous,
Oh, man. I'm like,
gorgeous.
oh, it's always
It's a
good
good place
know.
to call home, right?
Right.
San Diego, man.
Hey, man, but props to your parents for making that journey. It's a tough one, man. I know that. I mean, I'm also Mexican, and I've got family both sides of the border, and yeah, man, some of them go through a rough stretch.
Yeah, it's crazy, just for that dream,
Yeah.
and that's why, that's probably why I still to this day pursue this career, because it's just like, if they went through what they did, and they were able to raise me and my sister and, my brothers and sisters and, put me in this position right now, that I'm not on the streets, I'm not in jail,
Right.
then I should be able to do this, I should be
do your
able to
part.
follow my dreams and get to those dreams just like they did,
So, how many sisters, brothers?
So I have, I consider all of them brothers and sisters, but I have half brothers and sisters,
Right.
from separate moms and dads
Uh-huh.
and stuff. But basically, I have three brothers, three sisters. Three of them that are here, and the rest are still out in Michoacan.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Do you ever go out to?
I
visit
haven't
them?
in a long time, to be honest with you. It's been a long time, and I've been itching to go. I mean, I was a little youth at that time, maybe
Right.
maybe just a teenager, 13 or something, 12 when I went out. to Porichucho, is where my dad's from, which is close to Morelia.
Really, the capital of Morelia.
Yeah, and Urapan. I just remember Urapan, man. It's so beautiful. So real quick, like all the mariposas, all the monarch butterflies, they migrate to that place, and it's like, you know, when you go to the San Diego Zoo or something, you go into the little habitat where they're flying all over you. That's the whole park, and they just don't leave. There's no nets or nothing. That's where they go.
No, it's an amazing. It's on my list, man. It's an amazing place.
And I was just so young to like
appreciate it.
Really appreciate. I mean, I just remember it so vividly because it was very beautiful. It did strike a chord in me at that age, but not enough to like soak it in. You know what I mean? It was just more like, cool, let's pass it on and keep going. But yeah, man, I definitely need to make another trip. It's just, you know, the Michoacan, where my pops is from, Apatzingan, you know, that area is
Mexico as a whole, it's an amazing place. But when you break it down, but yeah, I mean, when you say Uruapan, for me, born and raised across the the border right here in Tijuana, there used to be a place at Carnitas, because Michoacanos, they're famous for carnitas. And it was like Carnitas Uruapan. Bro, I used to love that place.
That's the best carnitas you're going to get is Uruapan right there. But that anywhere you can find Uruapan style, Michoacan style carnitas.
Yeah, right, because that's kind of the connection, right? They're like, they're the real deal. Because man, you should, life is short, man. You should take a minute and go.
It's funny because getting back into the creative side of music again, working on an album right now, it makes me want to do that ASAP, because I need those outside cultural influences back in my writing again,
Right.
I'm always trying to keep up to date with my family out there, keeping up with current events of what's going on in back in the lands, but and I need to be surrounded by it, to kind of soak that in,
right.
And in turn try to put it back into my creativity of my music,
Yeah.
So
hey, you ever been down like south of Mexico, like down that way, like anywhere like Guanajuato or Michoacan?
The farthest I've been down is Mazatlan.
Yeah, Mazatlan.
Beautiful.
It's a good place.
Yeah, absolutely. Fun times, by the way.
Yeah. But it's crazy. These states have all these. Some of their like downtowns are kind of like back in the. Still the buildings and all that stuff, like, and I kind of love that stuff, like they're like
the old
the
architecture.
And,
yeah. When I was there, I'm 32 right now, so when I was there, like I said, like 11, 12 or something, it was still dirt roads, no concrete anywhere,
Right.
maybe a street light here and there,
I'm sure it's changed a little bit.
Yeah, it's been a while, and so I'd like to see the difference, because it's probably night and day,
Right.
Like for example, like San Diego, born in San Diego, and seeing how like the Temecula River area blew up so fast.
Yeah.
It was cool to see like just the nothingness to what it is now. Same thing was what I'm like, and I can't wait to go out there again and see how much it's flourished,
Right. So you grew up, your childhood up in Escondido. What was that like as far as, being son of immigrants?
It was being raised by my tios and my tias.
Right.
My parents were working double shifts all the time, so
Right.
we didn't really get to spend too much time with them. It was just they were just in and out, just trying to put food on the table. I would share a bed with my sister. We'd put some pillows in the middle of us so that she doesn't roll on top of me. I roll on top of her. And just a little small kind of like small little place in Escondido, small little kind of one room bathroom type of thing. And it was good. It was a good proper way for me to grow up because I got to learn kind of the scratch and survive kind of mode
Right.
a little bit, as opposed to a lot of my nieces and nephews now that are second, third generation born here. That's why, again, I said, it's a blessing to be here because, there's just every little thing that we have and that we're given. We appreciate it, and I really appreciate that because, again, everything happens for a reason. Everything's put in motion from the beginning. And that's why we're sitting here today is because, I shared a bed with my sister, but it was good. It was, it was beautiful and humbling, and it was very loving. So, you know, what we lacked in material, we had in family unit, you know, so it was a small little house with, you know, cousins and uncles and a bunch of people in the house. But it was, it, you know, filled us up with a lot of love, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing I try to tell people. Like, it's funny. I tell the example of my grandma all the time because she's up in Stockton, Northern California. And then I used to spend my summers there because we had that school break. It was so long. Back in the day, it was like almost 3 months. Mm-hmm. So I spent my summers up there. And I never thought that she was poor, you know? I never, because we always had a good time. There was always food, good food. And we had a blast. But then when I got older, I'm like, holy crap, my grandma's poor.
Yeah. You know, it's you don't realize those things. You know, same thing. We would play with sticks and rocks in the yard, you know, while probably other kids were playing with Nerf guns and stuff, you know. But it's you know, when you start getting to school and all that, then you're like, oh, you know, those guys have those type of shoes, and you know, look at my beat up shoes, and you start noticing those things as you get a little older, you know. But that humbleness that you picked up with them when you were going through that, helps you overcome the feeling of like jealousy, you know, as far as other people's possessions,
or that feeling of like, hey, damn, I don't have that.
Yeah,
know?
Exactly. I don't know if jealousy is the right word, but that feeling
there's a little bit of all
yeah.
that, and then it's crazy because I mean, when you're growing up, you're forming, you don't even realize it, but you know, you're in a way a product of your environment. So all those things that matter, right, and affect you.
Big time.
Now, when did you know that like music was like, because we all, I mean, I shouldn't say all, but like I for one love music. I'm sure Chris, we all love music, right? You know, and
I'm bummed that I haven't gone to a concert all year.
Oh man,
right? It's crazy. I actually did a iration at Del Mar Fair.
Oh, the drive-in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was interesting. It was fun.
That was cool. Yeah. We did the drive-in at Petco Park. The first one, it was like in June.
Oh, nice.
It was like the first one, like trial and error. You know, that Newsom was overseeing to see if California could properly do a socially distanced outside concert, you know, and it was a complete success. It was awesome. Beautiful projection.
We were both working at Petco when that was all going on, so I think I was looking over into the parking lot watching.
Oh, okay, there you go. Yeah, at the Lexus parking lot, right?
Exactly.
Oh man, that was a blast. But yeah, man, it's missing the live music. And myself, I also listen to music. You know, I'm also a diehard lover of listening to music and watching music, you know, watching shows.
Right.
But it's always, you know, cool to ask the actual listener, you know, the audience, what their feelings are not being able to go to a show and see a show. Because I know for myself, it's very therapeutic.
Oh, yeah.
You know, even a punk show, you know, to go thrash it up, that's so therapeutic. And I know a lot of people that just listen to music and love music. You know, I just wonder, you know, how they feel without this, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So as far as that, like, when do you remember as a child, like when did you know, like, music is a bigger part of your life than most people? Because like I said, it's one thing for us to like it and appreciate it, but we don't go all out towards it.
You know, that's it's one of the tougher questions, because you know, the most generalized question I always get asked at interviews and stuff is when did you start music, or what got you to start playing an instrument, you know?
Right.
And none of my family played music. It was just I couldn't really explain what it was that gravitated me to just start playing music in school and the band in school.
Okay.
So
was this middle school?
It was middle school. It was middle school. Yeah, just middle school band playing trumpet. So that's why it's kind of a hard question, because I just still to this day I cannot answer that. I don't know what is inside of me that keeps driving me to do this, because like any person that runs that runs a business or has a business, you know, it's a constant losing game. You know, it's always, you know, setbacks and just slight pushes forward, but so much more steps back, you know, as you progress through your career to try to get, to a level that you're trying to obtain.
Right.
And it's just such a, I don't know what drives me to keep going, because I was doing, I was in the industry of truck accessories for a long time. I mean, since I was 14, I started sweeping up a shop, doing tires, lifts, shocks, things like that, and I had that job forever. That job forever.
Now, how'd you do that? Because, 14, you're a youngster.
Yeah, it's because, in high school, I wasn't doing so well. I got kind of pushed around school to school kind of thing. And so at that point, I was, my parents were actually around. It was just when I was, maybe we'll say up to middle school times is when we were actually living all together at that point. So after elementary times, my parents and my blood sister, we'll say, all finally started just being together as a unit. We had a nice little apartment now just to the family, not with everyone else around. And so, just with that kind of feel, it just tells you like, hey, we just got to keep pushing through what my ambition was, which was always music. And again, I just don't know. But I always had that day job. I always did that. And like I said, picked up young because basically my parents pushed me out to live with my uncle at that point. It was, like I said, 14, 15. And then he put me to work with this shop, kind of under the table to begin with. At 16, at 16, you could start working with like a permit or whatnot. I was going to like this homeschool kind of thing. It wasn't a regular high school anymore. I just got kicked out of 2 high schools at that point. And
hey, man, you and me both.
Exactly. We all have some stories we can tell here.
You know what I mean? And that's as a kid growing up, it's funny. I'm kind of glad I went through those things because I don't have to go through those now as an adult. I kind of got the partying out of the way. But basically, my uncle just took me to work there, just kind of under the table, just doing cleaning around the shop. When I turned 16, I was able to start getting tools, installing stuff. No forklift use because we had to use forklifts to pick up, heavy things that we're installing on trucks, like hitches, things like that,
Right.
Started working there and, got my way up.
But you liked it.
I did. I would outfit like that. I quit a couple years ago. I left the industry to start full-time going for this music thing because I was doing both.
Right.
So that meant waking up at 6, going to that job, leaving at 6, and going to a show or a rehearsal and do that, Monday through Sunday,
Wow.
And it was just getting too much. But it's just I love doing it. Trust me. I love automobiles. I used to have a truck with bags and I used to go to the shows. I used to love that culture, the car club culture. And so that's what got me into like, people come in like, hey, I got some money and I want to do this and this and this to my truck. All right, cool. Let's look through all the cool stuff that we could put on your truck and make you look super sick this weekend, I loved it. I love that job, man, because then they would be so stoked too. And it was like, I got to work on my truck in a sense or my vehicle because obviously, I can't afford these 2020, 80,000 trucks no more. But, these guys come in and they have extra money and they're like, hey, let's deck this thing out. So it's like my own project, like if it was kind of my vehicle, and so that's what makes it so exciting to be in that, and we'd go to SEMA every year. We were pretty deep into that industry, the shop that I would work for and all that. And
wow,
I still, it's not that I left because I don't like it, because I loved it. But
it's kind of like another form of art, right?
It really was.
Yeah.
It really was, even down to the installation too, like to wire up lighting and stuff, like off-road lighting. We would do all the bars and pods and stuff like that. That in itself was an art too, to try to get the wiring as clean as factory as possible, where you go to shops or whatever and they don't do the cleanest jobs. You look underneath the hood or whatnot. You can
Stuff
tell
dangling.
it wasn't factory done,
Right.
And so that's always like the trick. I'd get my guys like, yo, make this as clean as hell. I don't want to see any, I want to see right angles everywhere on your wiring and stuff, So it's just, it was a form of art. It was super fun for me to do. And it was, like I said, since about like 15, 16 to it's a couple years ago doing that. And it was fun. But that, again, back to your question, I was doing good, man. I was making good money. I was good, and something in me said, you know what? I think music's still a better choice. So let's just go.
Well, the other thing is you could always go back too, right?
I can. I just
with all your experience.
I guess the ego in me, doesn't want to go back. I have it to fall back on.
Right.
But I really, I've been slowly like climbing little steps up the ladder that I'm trying to climb.
Right.
And so it's like, I'm already climbing it, so I have to see it through. And I don't know to win. Like I said, I don't know. Something's driving me to just keep climbing that ladder. And once we get to this, what I feel in my head is the top of this ladder, then I guess we can make a decision from there. But as of right now, obviously the pandemic times has really messed up everything. It was probably not the
Derailed
best
everybody.
choices to quit that job at that point. But there's a lot of help out there, for people like myself, artists out there that are, in these tough times where literally we had tours planned. We had so much stuff planned for, last summer and, this past summer. And,
No, man, it's tough. I mean, Chris and I are in the television industry, and I know, for me, I work mostly sporting events, and so as soon as they said, "Hey, no more than 10 people," I was like, there goes that.
It's
tough.
It's definitely taking its toll on all of us.
Yeah, you guys are all gig workers too, and it's it's without getting into politics, it's a delicate subject of what's really going on and why we're down and out like this. It's a crazy subject, but it sucks, and I just wish all you guys and the rest of our gig workers well during these times. All I can say is, there's lots of grants and lots of relief funds out there. So, you just got to kind of keep your eye out, keep on the lookout for those kind of things, because there is money out there to support and help people like ourselves. And that's what I've been doing. It's been a lot of hard research and hours, but there has been, thank God, money out there that I've been able to obtain to kind of help myself and my family during these times, because that live show revenue is gone.
Right. Yeah. It's like going back to college and looking for scholarships. Right?
I swear. Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't really go to college. I wouldn't understand that side, but I could imagine, because it's just research and this company, this organization.
Yeah, because they're out there, but it's not like, hey, here, you got to work for it. You got to,
they're not throwing it at you.
Right.
You got to look for it.
They're not making it easy. That's for sure.
No. But if you do take that time, again, as a little PSA thing there for everyone out there, there's money out there for relief. So if you're out of work and stuff, pretend like it's your job. To spend 4 hours and doing that research, filling out those applications, because with the prayers, you can qualify and you can get a little aid.
Right. So, but let's backtrack to when your music and you're doing this, you start working, and it seems like, very young, started working, but also you were picking up instruments and you were starting to learn.
Yeah. So it was just, I've always had the music since middle school time. So I've learned trumpet first, doing marching band, the school band, Out of middle school, going into high school, I always skateboarded too. So, being in Escondido, we're about like 30 minutes away from the ocean. I mean, we're in San Diego, so I cannot really complain about that, because I'm still, we're still a beach town, right? But, we surfed concrete waves in Escondido, so we would skate all the time. So with that came the territory of punk music, which came the territory of thrashing on a guitar, just wailing on drums. So out of middle school, I stopped playing trumpet because it's just not cool no more, Flat out, I'm just not gonna lie to you. It's just, this is the young mentality. At this point, I'll rock a flute. I don't even care, because that's what I do. But back then, you want to be cool, so I'm not gonna carry a trumpet case down in school. You know what I mean? I mean, I was still hanging with some cool cats and everything, but it's just you're not gonna do that, So I started playing more guitar, started learning drums, started learning bass, left the band thing. I'm like I said, and I'm not gonna be a band geek or nothing. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna start doing punk music, just start getting bands, and keep skating. So then that's when I started learning the rest of the repertoire. You know, the guitar, bass, drums, piano, all those things started coming into play.
Wow. And then are you one of these cats that it's like picks it up real quick, or did you? It was practice, hard work.
I'm not gonna lie. You know, a lot of people have natural talent.
Absolutely.
You know, like they can do that. They just pick it up and just like, you know, just perfect. I'm not one of those guys at all. You know, people, you know, see it differently that are around my family. You know, but to me, you know, you have to put in as much work in to get that much out of it, you know. So I guess my gift was that I was able to diligently practice a lot of things, you know, in what they call the woodshed, you know. So by myself with no one else around, not to prove anything to anyone or show off to anybody, but just lock myself in the room and, you know, just learn Freebird on the guitar for 3 hours straight.
Great song.
Yeah. You know, so it wasn't like I could just like, oh, wow, this is, you know, coming to me. It just, you know, I was pretty bad at all of them first, you know, but I just like I said, maybe it's just the talent of doing some diligent practice. You know, you can practice and you can diligently practice. And I guess I just kind of really got that from the middle school times, you know, like the band times, the school band times, because they teach you a lot of discipline. They teach you a lot of integrity. You know, those are the things that maybe a lot of cats don't learn, and maybe what put me a step in front or off to another side of learning instruments, because I knew I had to learn it, and I'm going to learn it, and I would waste no time to do it.
Wow. So that's what I am interested in, because a lot of people, you know, they see somebody and then, you know, the spotlight's on because he's already successful or she's already successful, and they don't understand, like, yeah, man, it wasn't like, it's like the 10-year overnight success, right? You actually,
It takes 10 years to blow up overnight, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, that's, a lot of people don't see that, huh? It's just they think, oh, where did they come from? And then you start looking into them and you realize that they played piano since they were 10 years old, you know? Right. So it's just one of those things. I just have this thing in me, just I have to learn all this stuff, and it put me on a good path, you know. Like I said, everything happens for a reason. So leaving the trumpet behind gave me a sense of now playing rhythmic instruments and learning and having an ear for different music. So
yeah, because that's the next step. I mean, it was one thing to be attracted to an instrument and start playing and learning whatever, but to have the ear and to start thinking about more, you know, not just actually kind of like almost like producing, right? You gotta like, you're not just playing for yourself. Now you start thinking about. I was thinking maybe you had a coach or maybe you had a special teacher that said, hey, you know, just you're pretty talented, and took you under his wing or something.
You know, I wish I could really say that I did have that mentor throughout this whole time, but I mean, I could really just go back to my middle school time. Mr. Boyce, I'm sorry, not Mr. Boyce, Mr. Grable, Jeff Grable, amazing trumpet player, but he was the instructor for my 6th through 8th grade, my middle school times. And I mean, he wasn't like my mentor, but I mean, we did have a lot of good connection between me and him, you know.
Well, sometimes a mentor is like, oh, that guy but it's somebody that actually you learned a lot from.
That made an impact on you.
Well,
then, you know, because I guess I never really thought about it that way. But I could really honestly say Jeff Grable, Mr. Grable, my middle school band teacher, really set in motion, I guess, that thing that we're talking about that just keeps me pushing, because it was just amazing to see what he can do, you know, to run a marching band and stuff with, you know, middle school kids.
That's
so much respect.
Sounds like a job and a half. Right there.
So much respect to him, but I learned so much from him. Like I said, those learning to just lock myself in my room for 3 hours and just to learn one song, you know, those things, you know, the tedious work and practice. You know, I guess Mr. Grable did instill that in me, because there really wasn't much more I mean, it's not like that I didn't go to college. You know, I went to vocational. I went to Maricosta to do some, classical training as well.
Nice.
But, Mr. Grable was, I guess, the one that got me to keep on doing that. You know, I had some great teachers, don't get me wrong,
Right.
at Palomar College and Maricosta College. But I guess none made an impact like Mr. Grable. He's the one that kind of put me out to sail, I guess,
Right.
We'll give this one to Mr. Grable.
Yeah, Mr. Grable, wherever you are. And he's, I think he's up in Arcadia, actually, because I tried to contact him, maybe a few years back just to, just let him know, like, hey, I thank you for, I guess I did hit him up saying, like, hey, thanks for, being my teacher back in the day, and I still play trumpet, and, I thank you for putting that in.
That kind of stuff goes a long way. Both of my parents were teachers down in Tijuana, and then those little things years later when people just say, hey, thank you, and it goes a long way.
Yeah, and it was like a Facebook message thing or something like that. I think I found him on there. So
yeah, but anything.
yeah, it just because I can only imagine what he thinks. Like, oh yeah, I totally remember you, and myself, I know I've taught lessons and stuff, and yeah, it must feel good to know that you're making a difference, right?
Right. So you're learning all these instruments, and I bet even then, did you had a purpose to be in a band and start? Was that in your thoughts, or were you just learning because you were fascinated with the instruments and music?
It was for the band reasons. So when I, went into high school, a lot of skateboarding and a lot of punk music. So that was my first.
What was your punk
Bands,
Bands.
favorite
bands? So it was like Circle Jerks, Misfits.
I grew up with all that, dude. I used to go to the shows in the 80s.
Oh,
so the early 80s.
Those are the good ones.
Bad
man. I
Brains
wish-
and all that.
So Bad Brains that's if there's like a whole podcast we could do on Bad Brains and the pivotal moment of my life of music, it was Bad Brains because
All right.
because they're punk and reggae. They're black punk reggae band. Where do you see that? Especially at that time in the 80s.
It was
Like, are you kidding
I saw
me?
them at Wabash Hall.
That's so legendary, man.
Yeah.
But I mean, like the climate of the times at that point for them to play punk music with dreadlocks just blew my mind, dude. And then they had one of the hardest punk albums, and then right next to it, one of the hardest dub albums. Like, who can do that? Who can do that? And so that they're just like, they flipped the script on my whole like musical life. I mean, not like that I left the other stuff behind or anything, but
No.
it just to understand like, whoa, that's insane, And I was like 10th grade or something. I was listening to that album, the dub one. I already listened to a lot of their punk stuff, but when I listened to the dub album, the I Survive dub, I was just like, what? I was so blown away, and it just started feeding me into roots reggae music, to Jamaican roots reggae music, and understanding the culture that it is, aside from the actual musicology of it, but how much more behind the music reggae has. So it's not just music.
Right.
You can't. That's why it's one of those mysteries that I had a long time ago when I started like kind of playing with some professional cats out here, is wondering why it's actually pretty hard to play reggae music. It's you can have the best jazz cat in the world, guitar jazz cat, best guy come into your reggae band, and he might not be able to do it, even though he's, top-notch jazz cat, and it's because it's not really the musicology of it. It's like the feel, the ambiance, the everything else but the notes. And it took me a while to understand that when I started getting into playing reggae on stage, with some of these cats that we used to back. So again, it's just that one album. It's just like started really clicking stuff together for me musically. Like, wow, there's ways to branch so much stuff and have them under this tree, which is music, with so many branches. And I just, like I said, punk bands is what I used to do. It's just like punk. And then started doing punk reggae because of the Bad Brains.
That's
like, what the hell? Dude,
that's
this is
rad.
crazy.
That's rad.
It was like, what? This is insane. We can just go ta 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 ta. Like, what the hell is going on here? They killed it at it, you know. And again, just everything else that they stood for was just amazing, you know. So, but the point of getting into bass drums, guitar, all that was to play some punk music. We just wanted to thrash, you know, at those times when we were young. Just wanted to skate and thrash, skate and destroy.
So yeah, and then that, being a youngster, and you know that the whole rebel thing kind of kicks in, and I understand that. I mean, I grew up a little bit before you, but like I grew up with Motley Crue and Metallica and Guns N' Roses, big Guns N' Roses guy. But it's funny because, like, you know, like when I brought home Shout at the Devil, my dad was like, "What the hell, homie? What are you doing?" I'm up, because he was always kind of cool, like, "Hey, oh, good, you venture over there." And I'm like, "Hey, these are not cumbias, man."
This is no cumbia.
You ventured a little too far right there.
Yeah, but so now you started doing that punk thing and getting a little bit of a band, and other than, you know, did something else for you? Like, oh, cool, that's kind of cool to be part of something like a group.
I guess doing the band thing, I guess since I was a kid, my family always would tell me that, you know, that I always like to lead things. You know, I'd always like to be, if there's a ball of kids playing around, I'd like to be the one doing this and go here, let's go there, you know? So that was a huge thing in the bands thing. It's just, I guess people just naturally gravitated to me to see where we go from here, kind of thing, you know? So, because I always had a buddy that we just grew up together skating, and he also was just die hard into everything I was too. So me and him were kind of the thing of doing music together, and let's find people, let's do punk bands, you know? But it always gravitated to me to be like the band leader. So it was always like, and again, this thing, maybe it was just a little fire at that time. Just said, all right, cool, let's do it. I'll go look for that person. Or sure, yeah, I'll go create music. I'll go do this. I'll go do that. Because I guess I like the fact of keeping a locomotive, you know, keeping that train running. You know, because we're like, hey, let's just do the bands. Let's do the punk thing. Cool, let's do it. Let's look for people. Cool, let's do it. Let's start writing songs. Cool, let's do it. Like by, you know, in no time we had a bunch of songs, a nice band, and some little gigs lined up already, you know, like little high school kids already, you know. And it's just I guess I just always had that natural tendency to lead, I guess.
To lead and start get things going. I think, see, it's funny. We grow up, and then you look back, and there's traits. And maybe it didn't start. Maybe you started at the shop when you were doing your little sweeping floors, or you know, or maybe at home, you know, or watching your mom or your dad. But all of a sudden, it comes back and it clicks into you, and you're the guy. You're out and you're kind of doing it, and you don't mind doing it. Plus, in the music, just like any other, like when there's more than one person, they need somebody that kind of dictates.
With anything in life, right? Like whether it's band or even at the job, you know, that's why you have those positions in a company, you know, because there needs to be, you know, that leader, and it needs to be pretty obvious, you know, where that final, you know, decision is, because everything's always collaborative, of course, you know, in order to make it work, we all have to collaborate together, you know, so it's not like a dictatorship either. It's just more like, you know, let's just, one person has that, you know, that goal, or has that know of where we should be driving. Right. So there's got to be there we go. There's got to be a driver, no matter what. There's always got to be a driver that knows where to go. And just, you know, I'm just blessed to have amazing guys around me that trust me to run the ship, because I'm not the youngest, but I'll say I'm the second youngest in the band, you know, of 8 people. Wow. You know, my oldest member that's been here forever, Jeff Dresser, the sax player, he's, I asked him last night, I was like, I'm not going to say you're 50, because I keep forgetting if you're over 50 or you're under 50. He said 46.5.
I like it.
So it's like, all right, cool. And so, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm just blessed to have these guys, because they just, we've obviously done some great things, you know, here in San Diego and outside of San Diego, internationally in Mexico. We've been doing some, now with this 2020 life, we've been doing a lot of virtual stuff, and now we're growing a fan base in Argentina and Latino America. You know, there's people already pushing our stuff down there, gaining a following out there. And it's, you know, again, it just comes back to my guys just trusting me. And, you know, I just appreciate that they just let me drive, you know?
No, so you start off, you know, band, then punk. Then I was going to ask you about the reggae, like how does basically a Mexican American kid gets involved with that and so heavily involved. But like growing up, what about Mexican music? How much has that influenced you?
Huge. And it just, you know, as of maybe like before this album, we had before the Journey So Far that released in 2019, we had an EP in 2014. So I would say really around those times was when I started again clicking it into the music. As far as, you know, I grew up in a Mexican household, you know, again, pura cumbia, puro corrido, all day long.
Right.
So that was always in my head, always in the ear, always in the brain. But I just never introduced it into the music, you know. I don't know. I've always listened to it, and I've always liked it too. Personally, you know, I'd always like to put some Manecito Molina or something on, you know, like, but just never interjected into the music. It really started kicking in around those years because I still played trumpet. You know, I just picked it back up again after the high school times because then it was cool again to play horns, and then started getting into playing Latin jazz. So a lot of tumbao type music, you know, salsa, timba, and Miracosta, playing trumpet for the Latin Jazz Orchestra over there. And so when I started playing that, you know, I just have a musical brain all the time to think of how to join things together. Because I listen, you know, I'm an artist. So, you know, I can't say I'm a reggae musician because I can tell you a lot about the culture. I can tell you a lot about the music of it. I can show you how to play it on almost every instrument. And I can have true reggae legends that I've played with in the past with our band, because we've done a lot of backing band stuff. They'll tell you this guy knows his stuff, you know, but I still don't consider myself that because I like to mix it with a cumbia, or I like to mix it with some soul style music. I like to mix it with some funk, you know, so I don't play roots reggae music, you know. What we kind of the style is roots and culture, because the culture part, you know, because that's where I start saying, okay, cool, how can we do that, you know, that montuno, and then add like a little dub section in, or do this and that, you know. So as of that last album is when I started kind of working that into the music to find out how to intricately do it and then do it right too, you know. I just, you know, it's not that I get embarrassed easy, but whenever I don't like to show off because I'm just so like timid with certain things, you know. Even like with this new music, I don't even like to show it to the band members yet because I'm just like so nervous, like, oh my God, they're gonna think it's stupid, they're gonna hate it, you know. And
Really?
that's just how I think, you know. And so that's why I never wanted to do the Latin stuff in my music, because I didn't feel it was right. It wasn't proper.
Wow.
You know, and I know a lot of cats out here that play reggae music that are staples of that in San Diego. I know guys, a lot of the Latin cats out here that play a lot of the, you know, jam sessions, you know, the Bill Caballero stuff, you know, the Latin stuff. And I just, you know, want to make sure I do it right. And I want to make sure I do it justice, you know. So when you're playing punk, it's very, very open-ended on what you do with it, you know. But then growing up and started realizing like that music is like something I have to kind of respect. Then I was like, okay, how can we start blending it together? Like, let's take some time to do it, not just like, okay, let's just start playing a cumbia song, you know, just however it comes out. You know, no, I gotta make sure either I have the right guys that know how to play that, or we studied what we need to do before we bring it to the table, you know. So I guess I wasn't, in my eyes, mature enough yet to start bringing in my Latin side of it to our music, to the SM Familia stuff.
Because I would imagine along your journey, you're starting, you know, bands and stuff and playing little gigs here and there or whatever as you were progressing, I would imagine people would come up to you like, bro, you're Mexican. Why don't Mexican, you know?
And the other thing too is like, hablo español, y lo hablo bien y todo, pero cuando estaba más morro, not that much, So at the same time too, a little embarrassed to like not maybe talk right or say the words right or use the correct lingo. I hang out with so many different people, and you know how it is hanging out with Mexicans, la carrilla que te dan, all the time, So it's just like, that little part, is a little part that plays in your head too, But I got to present it properly, and so
about carrilla, right?
Oh yeah.
He's married to a Mexican.
Oh yeah. Oh man, yeah.
He married into a Mexican family, so he knows what's up.
Oh yeah.
A lot of that during the holidays right now. Huh?
It's the best. It's been the best ride. I've been with my wife since I was 16.
Oh, beautiful.
I was like married into the culture, so it was awesome.
It's a fun culture. Fun culture.
It's fun. It is fun, man. It's funny because I tell people, man, we go through hell, but we're always ready for a joke, for a laugh, and like your type of music. I was telling you, like, because last night I put it on. I'm like, hey man, you start like, hey man, let's start moving. So that. But anyways, I'm surprised that it's a great answer about you knowing yourself and like how you're respecting the music. But I'm sure like along the way, especially when you're getting gigs and you're trying to like be out there, I would imagine people would say, "Come on, bro, bring it in. You bring part of your culture."
And that's always been in even my family too. Like come on, no mames, güey.
Yeah, no mames.
You know what I mean? Like eres mexicano, güey, canta en español, and of course I got that fed to me all the time, and so it was gonna happen eventually, but I just wanted to just again present it right. That's how I am with my music. Like I said, sometimes when I create something, it takes me a while to show it to my band, which are the most trustworthy circle of the music creative side that I have. And it's just I'm very self-conscious about all the music. And like right now with the production, the pre-production we're working on to work on this new album. It's just like I'm locking myself in my studio all day because I just that thing in my head. I just got to do it right. And I'm trying to present a lot of styles in this one, and I have a collaboration with a lot of different musicians, not just the band too, but we're inviting some really good friends out here from San Diego to put some parts in to the whole album. So it's again, it's really hidden in me right now, to just get stuff out there. And so I just got to work out the kinks first, and then I like to just put it out. So 2014, that EP, we put our first like cumbia on track before, it was great. People loved it. And, I got respect from a lot of big Latin guys. We got nominated for SDMA on that first one too. And, Gilbert Castellanos, Bill Caballero, all those guys, just like, hey, dude, respeto, dude, that's sick,
You did it right.
And I was like, dude, thank you. And it's just, gotta. That's just how I am, man. I just gotta present things right with whatever it is. I just gotta come correct, the first time. I used to get it, when you're younger. I used to be a little chubbier. I used to get bullied, so it's just like I have to. I'm always like, okay, let's not get bullied anymore. So how do you not get bullied? Well, just come correct, like obviously when I use the word bullying in the sense of nowadays, it's just, to just,
right.
Not just make sure you're doing things right. And at the same time, it's not the word disrespect, but the music, you just have to do it. You have to do it right. You know what I mean? Like if you're going to play a cumbia, play the right style of cumbia that you're gonna do. If you do your own thing, cool, man, go for it. Go for it. That's just not me. You know what I mean? I'm gonna mix that cumbia into a dub, my style.
Right.
You won't even see this coming. But that the conguero is playing his martillo. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like there's standards that has to be in certain music that you at least have to have in there if you're gonna present it. That's just how I think. Music is a creative thing. Music is, you can do whatever the heck you want, and
right.
No one's the judge of what is right and what is wrong, but again, that's just my mentality, and maybe coming from that whole Latin jazz perspective of things where everything is tedious and tight. Every single little pop, click, pause thing in that is is written out. It's to a T, you know, and you listen to salsa, you know, and you're just sitting there in just awe, like, how can they do this, you know? And it's just because they are doing it correctly and they're presenting it correctly, you know?
So you mentioned that, you know, obviously all these instruments and you were writing. What about singing? Did you ever, you know, being the frontman and all that? I mean, that's another layer as far as a band.
Yeah, man. I'm like a new singer. I've always sang.
Right.
But as far as, again, presenting it out there, since that last, that EP was really when I started singing for the band. So the band is, this is a whole nother like section of, it's such a long journey, man. That's why we call this one The Journey So Far, because SM Familia stands for Soul Malady Familia. And Soul Malady was basically what was SM Familia back in the day before it was SM Familia. So basically I ran like after the punk stuff, you know, I went through every type of band. So we did the punk thing. Then we started kind of getting into more like, you know, the Latin stuff and then soul stuff, trip hop, you know, underground hip hop, like just so much stuff. And then we, me and my buddy again that I used to do the punk stuff with back in the day, created Soul Malady, which was like trip hop, you know, Portishead, Massive Attack style music, which is like kind of slow down tempo hip hop beats with female vocalists. So we created a band like that, and we had a female vocalist, so we called it Soul Malady. We did an album with this one vocalist, Aurora, and it was awesome. Great time we had as a band. We put out a nice little EP, had completely different sounds that I still have yet to hear out here. Like that trip hop thing is not that big anymore, really, I guess. It's just I don't see much of that popping up lately. But that's what Soul Malady was. It was like the trip hop thing, you know. So we did an album for a whole year, ran that. Then we lost our singer. Then we brought another one in, did another EP with her. And that was awesome too. She was more pop style, so that was more soul pop at that point. And I was playing trumpet and just composing music. My buddy playing drums, and we just built a band. So then she dropped off. And that was roughly around the 2012 era time frame. So they're like, all right, dude, what are we going to do now? We're going to get another singer.
You can't
do it again.
Right, and then
drop her again. And then it's not going to work? Or what are we going to do? He's like, dude, well, you know you sing. Like, why don't you just start doing it? And maybe we can just start doing something different that just brings something. Because, you know, obviously with the soul stuff, you know, the female vocals is what made that.
Right.
So I could not recreate that, you know. So we're like, dude, let's just start playing some roots reggae music, you know, because we were listening to Gregory Isaacs, you know. We're listening to all that old stuff all the time, constantly. While we're working on the Soul Malady music, you know, that was the influence, you know. And it's like, okay, let's do it. Let's just start writing some music. Let's get on the guitar. Let's see what I can do, you know. And it was all right. It was turning out good. And then I started really getting more into trying to, like, be a vocalist.
Did you take lessons? Because I mean,
I did take some lessons. I probably did lessons for a year, just to at least like physically find my voice, you know.
Right. Can you sing, Chris?
No.
You know, but
I can play the harmonica a little bit.
Hey, because I admire. I wish I could sing. I admire people that can sing, but like anything, I tell it helps to. I got a friend that sings really well, and one time we're just hanging around, and we started singing, and then he told me, bro, the way you sing, you're gonna be done with two songs. He says, he started talking about like from down here and the pinche diafragma.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, I mean, I don't know any of that stuff. And he says, yeah, that's how they do it. Otherwise, I mean, that's why they last 2-3 hours singing, because no, if you do it from up here, you'll be done.
It's an instrument, you know, and that's what I needed the training for, to realize that. So then I can do it properly and be able, like you're saying, it's you're going to burn yourself out if you're doing it wrong. You know, if you're singing from the throat, you know, you're going to be out, you know, like you said, in an hour tops, you know, you're going to lose your voice. So that training helped me at least physically find the voice part. But I think still to this day, I'm slowly fitting into Gato of SM Familia. You know what I mean? Like I said, I've always sang, and then with that training, it helped me like know how to do it correctly, know how to hit notes where they're at, get the linguistics, we'll say, of the singing. But there's a further part of the singing, of being a singer, which is like, being a vocalist, and that obtains a little bit more than just the physical part of it. It's like finding, your voice, like, every artist has their voice. Like, you'll know, like, oh, that's this person. Oh, that's this person. That's this person. Not just because the tone of their voice, but the way they are as a vocalist and the way they project themselves, the lyricism, things like that, and so that EP was like the first thing I ever tracked myself with my own vocals,
How's that? Because I mean, even us doing this kind of stuff, it's kind of weird at first. And I obviously, being in bands and you sang, but now that's a little bit different. How was that for you?
It's funny. I still to this day don't like the sound of my voice. Right? That's the thing, is when you listen back to it, you're like, that's not me. And I still
how I sound.
I still have that in my head. That's crazy. That's really me, huh? But as it's a trip really to hear that. But at this point now, being about 5-6 years into it, studying lots of amazing vocalists, either from here, internationally, it's really got me to hone in and kind of like look at myself as a vocalist. I've always looked at myself as an instrumentalist. I can compose music, I can play any instrument, and do it with class and sass, we'll say. You know what I mean? But the vocalist thing is just more like, okay, have not sat in my chair yet, and I'm getting there. And like I said, again, not technically, because I can sing, I know that. I'm not saying I'm the best singer in the world, but I can hit notes. I can do that, but and a lot of people, they compliment my voice, they compliment myself as a vocalist. But again, me being hard on myself always, it's just like, I just don't feel like I've sat there yet where I can, fully envelop, we'll say, as just to throw it out there, because my girlfriend, Justin Bieber, like, I haven't got to that point. And I'm not saying like level of money or anything like that. No, just saying as a vocalist, like, right. that guy is an amazing vocalist, you know what I mean? And he's got his voice, he's got his style, he's got his timbre, right. He's got his tone, and that's what he is and what he does, So I'm enjoying the journey, to really find that voice,
But it's good, because at the time it sounds too like you're comfortable with the rest of the stuff. Mm-hmm. So in a way, it's good sometimes to be out of your comfort zone too. Yeah. But it is kind of like you're not. It's not the same, right? You're not like as sure of yourself.
Yeah, and that's it. Just the little unsureness, But I mean, you've gone to my shows before. And when I'm up there, it's a different beast, it's a whole nother thing. At that point, I am the Justin Bieber, and that's what I project. I do sit in that chair. Right. But, still, again, I'm not anywhere near where I want to be as a vocalist,
Right. And I haven't said that, but do you really enjoy it? Is that, I mean, how is it? Because, I mean, you gravitated towards instruments and music so easily. It's taken a little bit longer to be a vocalist, but do you actually enjoy it?
I do. It's a very humbling journey to be a vocalist, man. Just because, I do enjoy it, and I also love playing instruments, but what I do right now, I play bass and sing in the band.
Okay.
So, and not out of necessity of just not having the other person, but I like playing bass. I like playing instruments, and then the singing thing, it just, I kind of got thrown into that seat, like I was telling you, from the Soul Malady times, and I've just sat in there. So it just works at this point, it'd be weird to, change it up, but I like it. I love it. It's just, it is a hard journey, cause it's unlike, learning an instrument. When you learn an instrument, you're learning that instrument, vocalists, you're learn an instrument that you kind of already have, but you didn't know. You know,
Right.
it's really weird, especially going through this new album right now. I've been spending a lot of time in the studio, a lot of hours listening back and singing and trying new things and doing this and that. And so it's a beautiful world of doing vocals and being a vocalist, you know, and it's a journey that, that I'm enjoying, and we're going to continue doing what we do. And when I'm on stage, again, it's just, at that point, I'm just a ball of energy. You know, I'm 100% with both of my jobs, which is singing and playing the bass.
Right. I'm sure that you, especially the way it sounds, as far as you being, kind of hard on yourself, or not hard on yourself, but like you don't want to put anything out there. I think if you're up there, if you're not passionate, if you're not like true to what you're, even if, like you say, you're not at the point you want to be at, but if you're not at least passionate and doing true to your performance, people pick that up.
Oh yeah, big time. And that's why, what we talk about here, is what's in my head, so I'm letting you guys into things that no one would hear me say or do, or even know that's in my head, because I don't present that at all. I love every part of what I do. It's just like life. There's certain things that are a little bit harder, to run, but you still love the hell out of them, And so that's just the thing. I just have so much passion for this figure called music. I'm always so hard on myself to just do it 100% and perform it at 100%, execute everything 100%. It's just like we were talking sports earlier, you have a game plan to do it, to go from 0 to 100%. But sometimes you might end at 90% or whatnot, but you worked your ass off that whole time.
Right.
You didn't slack at all, cause the love shows when you're on stage, when you're performing, when people listen to the music that we have, and you feel that was real.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
As far as like the talking about that, the energy that you get from the crowd, like how much does that play into your performance, or how much, what effect does that have on you?
It's crazy that you bring that up, because this whole virtual world we live in right now in 2020, because we've been doing virtual concerts, so we're just like looking at a camera, and then compared to playing concerts, like, that last one before quarantine, that was a Motley show, Music Box, sold out, I think that venue holds like
awesome show,
700 people or something like that, 800 people, and sold out, so that's always a great question, and do you need the crowd? Do you not need the crowd? Sports right now, they don't have crowds. I still have seen one hell of an NFL season. I saw one hell of a MLB season, NBA season with no fans. And that's the same thing with music. Whether it's one person or 1,000 people, I'm gonna do what I do the same. It's gonna be the same performance as far as that passion and love that I have for what I do to present it to you. So whether it's one person, 1,000 people, we still have the same vibe no matter what. If we're just practicing in the room, it's just us, same vibe all the time. Just be true to what we're doing, and that's it. And people see that, So, with this camera thing, like, the interactive thing, it's funny because, obviously, yeah, of course there's feed off of a crowd. I mean, no one can say they don't feed off of that. That's just a lie. It's just flat out, who is not going to get fueled up when you have 1,000 people in front of you screaming at you, stoked
Jumping
about
or
you.
singing
I mean,
yeah.
Who's not going to feel that,
Right.
But now it's like, we're just like, oh, thumbs up, or like comments because of the virtual stuff, the live shows. You're like, oh, we got like 5 thumbs up, man. It's like the same vibe of like they're going, yeah, But it's crazy to see like how this works out right now with the pandemic that's going on. But again, regardless, we jam just as hard if it's just one person, or, I mean, we've done it all. We've done the little coffee shop with like 3 people, and then we've done Tijuana at the Caliente for 10,000 people. And you can talk to both, you know, if you found the crowd from the 3 people and the crowd from the 10,000, they'll tell you they had a blast, you know, and that they enjoyed the show. Even if it's only 2 of us or it's 8 of us, they're like, you guys killed it. You guys did great. And I'm just, you know, thank you. I appreciate that. You know, we just did what we do. You know, we just played a show. We played our music, you know.
No, man, I was just thinking back, you know, just being, I think it's almost every boy's dream to at least be part of at least for a little bit, be the front man for a band.
Yeah.
Damn, man. I mean,
I've never wanted to be that guy. I just never thought of it before, like I said, because being an instrumentalist. But it's a tough job.
I would imagine.
It's a tough job.
I'm just saying because you just kind of fantasize, but like going back to like big Guns N' Roses fan, and I remember back in the day when Paradise City came out, and that video and all these thousands and thousands of people, and then when he starts towards the end of the song, when he starts going nuts and everybody's jumping, I'm like, dude, I mean, I remember the first time I saw it, I was by myself, and I was like, what the hell is going on? It's cool to be just part of that.
It feels good. It feels good, man. And it's fun. I like doing it. Like I said, it's a hard job because, you know, I don't get nervous. I don't feel that nervousness anymore. It's funny. Maybe I feel more nervous when we're doing less people, you know. You can hear more things maybe, you know. But I don't really get the nerves anymore. But it's just more of like you never know. When we play like places that we always play, you know, like our house spots. You know, we know what to expect, you know.
Right.
La Familia is going to come through heavy all the time, no matter what. You know, when we play a different venue or a different crowd, you know, you don't know what you're going to get. So it's just like, all right, you know, and then you're kind of like the ringleader here. So you got a mob in front of you, you know, you're going to either do it right or you're going to do it wrong. And that's going to, you know, end your show or you're going to have the best show, you know? So that's why it's always like.
Set the tone.
You got to set that tone. Exactly. And you have to read people so fast. You have to read the crowd so fast, understand the crowd so fast to know what you're going to do and what you're going to say. Like, are you going to say hi? Or are you going to say, what's up, everybody? Or are you going to be like, you know what I mean? Like those little things. The first, I'm like I said, I like going to shows too. I'm a listener of music. So the first thing is that first impression. What is he going to say as soon as he walks up? Yeah. Is he going to say, what the hell's everyone fucking doing? And I'll be like, yeah, I'm doing good. You know, or is he going to be like, hey, what's up, guys? You know, you never know, right. You know? And so, cause you just have an anticipation of this crowd ready to do something and you need to tell them what to do. And, you know, so it's always that first moment of like, you know, what are we going to do? You know, here we go.
Now, when you do a show, usually you have like a list of songs and you got your set, right? Have you ever picked up like the energy on a crowd and you're like, hey man, we got to move it up. Like, let's do this song or do something else because the crowd is not. Do you ever adjust like that?
So this gets into like talking of how musicians or bands write set lists, because that is to me a sacred thing. So for like example, when we do shows like Soul Malady, when we do more of the professional shows, when we're opening up for a big band or we're headlining, we write a set list and we run it that way because we took the time, not just that we don't, you know, again, it's a sacred thing to write set lists because that's what's going to tell the mood of that's like writing a script for a show. So if you don't put the right songs or the right transitions in, your show's not going to be that great, you know, unless like if it's a crowd of just your fans that are there to see you can do whatever you want. Right. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember the punk Gigi Allen back in the day, but he could do whatever he wanted because his crowd was there and he's going to sell the place out. It doesn't matter, you know, but when you have a new crowd or, you know, you're always trying to gain new people, you have to take it serious when you're writing a set list. Like, make sure you start it off correctly with the mood and vibe of what you should be expecting and go from there and take them on the ride the whole way through, you know? And that's when we play those shows, we love to take our time to write out what songs fit best, what the mood is, you know, what kind of roller coaster we're going to take them on. Are we going to take them on just a fat dip at the beginning or, you know, we're going to take it mellow and then the dip is at the end? So we look at it like in waves, like we just have to be true to that when we play those type of shows. Now, We do a lot of casinos with a smaller band. We break our band up into like 3-piece, 4-piece.
Oh, really?
You know, we're working musicians still. You know, so SM Familia, that's like, I guess, in its own venture, but I'm still a working musician. A lot of us are still working musicians, so we still have to play some gigs, you know. So we do a lot of casinos, private events, things like that. So when we do those type of events, we have song lists. So it's just like a list of songs that'll work good for this event, and we just run it through depending on the vibe. So that we do that a lot for the casinos, you know, casinos, because it's kind of background music. It's usually like either a duo or a trio. And so we just have a list of songs. So we get in there and then we're like kind of vibe it out. Oh, okay, cool. It's kind of chill. Let's start with some kind of slow, like Bob Marley or something. Okay, cool. And then we'll just work our way through. Or like, hey, it's popping right now at 9 o'clock at the bar right now. Let's just give them a Selena right now, you know, just like that. And then we just change it depending on how it goes. So,
Right.
But for those shows, which we call like, that's what I call the concerts, you know, like the Soul Malady, that drive-in concert, Residente in Tijuana, all those are shows, concerts where we make sure that we plan a script out, you know, when we run the theatrical show
Right.
correctly from A to Z. And a lot of people like our shows from what I hear because of the show itself, like the way we take them on that ride, you know, like I didn't even have to go to the bathroom. I didn't do this. I didn't do that because you guys just had me hooked the whole time, you know, and it's because,
Wow.
you know, a lot of bands kind of don't take that into consideration, that the songs you choose are going to be how your fans or viewers are going to take that show, you know? So if you just don't really pay attention to that, don't take consideration of that, I mean, that's, you know, you're going to have an okay show, but to have an amazing show, you have an amazing set list. So you look at some of those Guns N' Roses, all those bands, they have a set list that they run through, and aren't those some of the best shows that you've been to? When
Absolutely.
when everything is to a T, their outro on this one song is you're just like, yeah, and then they go next song, and then it's slow because at that time, you know, the vibe is just like, all right, some chill, let's, you know, let's play like a little love song, and then after that, let's jump it up. Yeah, that to me are some of the best shows I've gone to, is when they all are just tight with a set list, you know, just top to bottom, A to Z, and I'm just like, amazing, you know. And we try to envelop that for sure, consideration into our scripts, you know.
Wow, man. Well, that is
It's like the Bible, man. It's like I said again, I respect music so much, and I have, being a frontman, I have to read people right away. And usually when we have our shows, I know what our people want, you know, we know what they like, you know, and I'll be like, all right, tonight we're going to do jam rock. And then it's the hardest hitting cover we did, but it might not work for the next town that we go to, you know, so we have to always look at that correctly and make sure that everything, again, I just look at it like a script, you know, we just got to run line by line. Otherwise it's not consistent with the show, you know? So cool. It's our Bible. It's SM Familia's Bible. That set list is always a Bible, and we've just done so good with that collaboratively to know what to do. That it's just, you know, we just have fun shows, you know, and then the people see that, and the people agree, you know, they agree. You know, they're just like, yeah, you guys from A to Z, beginning to end, killed it.
I mean, and that's a big thing as far as shows. You know, people go. Most of us go because it's a release. It's a way. You know, something that's gonna take you away from your everyday life, and to have that, and to for people to come up to you and say like, hey man, I was hooked. You took me through this whole show. You know, it must be amazing, right?
We get those messages too, you know, like, hey, you know, we saw you guys, you know, last weekend, and we just want to thank you so much because we had been through such a rough week that week, and then to end up at your show and leave the way we did, it was such a beautiful gift. Thank you, you know. And yeah, that like you're mentioning, you know, with when teachers get, you know, the messages back from their old students, you know, that they made an impact, that it feels good, you know, because at the end of the day, that's why we do what we do, is we do it for a release ourselves. We're just committing the act of playing those instruments, you know, but I go to shows too because I want to release too, to listen and just follow the emotion of what's going on, you know, instead of the noise of my normal life, right? You know, it's just it's beautiful that my music does that. You know, I'm touched that it actually does that to people. You know, it's like, really, that's really cool and honoring.
Well, I was gonna say, what is next for you guys? What you know, the future is bright, and where is it taking you?
Man, that's the thing is, where's this world taking us right now? I feel like we're still in the limbo of what is the next move, you know, because all last year we just had cancellations of our tour and a bunch of shows. So are we gonna just reschedule all that again this summer and then go from there, like the plans that we had, or you know, or it's really tough to tell, but all I do know is progression. So right now we're in the studio. So we didn't waste time with quarantine and, you know, just drive each other nuts. It was just like, hey, it was hard to work with each other because we're still trying to be safe too, you know. It's an 8-piece band, you know. How much social distance can you get between that big of a band? But the collaboration has still happened. So we're working on a new album. We're working on doing a new like live stream. We did a live stream show not that long ago, and we were able to do, you know, Facebook, YouTube, all the platforms, and that was fun. We want to do another one. A lot of people are asking for another one. So at this point, it's just releasing music, I guess, is the only thing I can really think of in the near future, just for the fact of, you know, this world we live in right now. Just so we had, again, things come back that we got rescheduled towards the end of this year, end of 2020, beginning of this year. And again, just as of last week, a bunch of cancellations, you know?
Yeah.
So it's really hard to tell as far as the live aspect of things, what's going on. It's really scary, man. Really scary what all of us gig workers, we're just in limbo. You know, and they're like, okay, cool, let's start up again. You know, I started playing some restaurants here and there, and then boom, shut down again. Like, it's hard to make plans with such an unstable like situation.
Right.
You know.
Hey, but real quick, just going back to what you were saying as far as the feedback and stuff like this whole thing started because and we got excited. I got excited because he was extremely excited when the possibility of doing this with you, and he said, "Oh man, I went to the show," and that's when we started the ball rolling. So it's been absolute pleasure to get to know you, man, and meet you, and it's just been a great ride. I mean, I'm telling people about the music because you got a little bit of a like mana and cumbia and reggae.
It's all in there. You just got to dig in there and find it. No, for sure.
Yeah. We, like I said, we try to put a little bit of everything. You know, we're all mixed cultures in the band. You know, we have Mexicanos in the band. We have my trumpet player's got some Irish in him. You know, there's all types of.
There's the picture up there. It's
there you go.
You got it all.
It's a mixed bunch right there.
That's awesome.
Good looking dudes right there, huh? Except for that guy in the middle, though. I don't know about him. But it's that's what we got to do. We got to be true to ourselves and our culture. So we're going to mix all the music up, you know. So this new album is going to mix up even more. All I know is that it's going to be the same SM Familia vibe all the time. That's one thing that we keep, that we never lose, is our touch and our vibe, you know. But we just keep mixing that music, you know, just cumbia, reggae, roots. We got some funk coming up. We got some little like soul stuff, some hip hop stuff. It's just we're just music, man.
Well, keep
Mixing
doing
music.
what you're doing for sure, because a lot of people appreciate it out there, and you're getting them through some tough times.
Thank you.
As we go, and is there? Do you have a name for the new album, or?
We do, but I don't know if I'm allowed to say that just yet.
Gotcha. Well, you know what? When you're ready, you let us know, and we'll be blasting that out for you
Most
for sure.
definitely. Yeah, this is a project that we're hoping to finish up here pretty soon. Everything's still kind of under wraps because there's actually no full-on decisions on names and titles and things of that nature yet. So it'll be coming pretty soon, though, and you guys will definitely be one of the first to know.
Sweet, man. Well, Felix El Gato.
Yes, sir.
Sierra. Now, El Gato, was that because Felix is the cat? Or
Felix the cat. The barrio
really?
used to call me Gato all the time. Ahí va el gatito, ahí va el gatito. Éralo. But now I'm older now, so I'm just Gato now. No more Gatito.
Well, Gato, hey, man, thank you so much for joining us, man. It's been
Thank
a
you,
blast,
guys.
man. And I do appreciate, like I said, man, I have so much respect for people, the same people that play instruments. And, but if nothing else, man, I've been telling people about your music because I was like, oh, every time I play it, people's like, especially if we got a little bit of that Latino, you start like moving, man. But I really appreciate it.
Respect to all the raza out there, man. They always got our back. They always have us, always supporting us. So right back at the raza. Todos los latinos, los mexicanos por ahí, gracias por el apoyo. Los queremos mucho.
And we'll see you down the road.
Yes, sir.
On the other side.
Goodbye, everybody.
We want to take a minute to thank Felix from The Other Side. Great show. If you want more information about SM Familia, visit our website, theothersidepresents.com, and follow us on Facebook at The Other Side, Instagram at The Other Side Presents. Please do us a favor, hit that subscribe and like button now, and we'll see you next week on The Other Side.